Hey guys, Jarek and Komodo here, going to be doing some more Black Ops 1, this time using the M60, which for some odd reason I figured I'd go ahead and feature all the light machine guns, 4 videos, just one right after another. The M60 is my favorite out of all the light machine guns. This thing is strong, this thing is accurate, the recoil is very controllable, and you can snipe people across the map if you just tap fired. Also, you can put a grip on it to make it have better recoil, so I like the M60. It's the only light machine gun that I actually really like. It still doesn't really favor my style of aggressive gameplay. It's definitely much more of a defensive gun like all the light machine guns. You're so slow with it, you have slow aiming time. Decent hip fire though, just because it's so strong, but it's very hit and miss with hip fire. But really, I think this is the best light machine gun in the game. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the questions. Quickly going to go over this as fast as I can because there were some things I wanted to say in the last video to the question, what characters do you see being added in the Smash 4? Now we already know who's going to be in as far as Pokemon goes unless they surprise us. It's Pikachu, Jigglypuff, Greninja, and Charizard. I may or may not be forgetting one or another. I don't think they're going to be adding in any more, but it would be cool to see them add in some Pokemon that, like say Blaziken, that would just work very well. I would have much rather see Blaziken added in than Greninja. Greninja's stupid. I mean, I said that before. Why make a Pokemon with a tongue wrapped around its head? What were you thinking with that design? That is dumb.
It was supposed to be like a scarf because ninja, but it's a
still,
tongue
that's
and
a
it's
stupid
dumb.
idea.
For once, actually, this isn't even the first time. Whatever. I agree with you.
Yeah, I would have much rather see Blaziken added in, but I guess
Of course you would.
Blaziken is a much cooler Pokemon than Greninja, and the move style would have been very similar. I mean, Blaziken isn't really a ninja. Random Skype message. Let me go ahead and mute my computer. I mean, Blaziken's not really a ninja or anything, but the playstyle, you could easily see them being very similar.
No, I can't. I see Blaziken kicking all over the place.
Close enough.
Because that's how ninjas work.
Totally.
Anyway.
But, yeah, I don't know. I just hate Greninja. I guess it's because they already had a fire type, but Charizard added in, so they didn't want to add in another one. And Greninja is more relevant to the most recent Pokemon game, and he is one of the starters, so it only makes sense to add him in. But yeah, who else? I can't really think of any other Pokemon off the top of my head. I'm sure there are plenty of other Pokemon you can add in. I mean, what are we up to now? 800?
700 and something? 761, I think? No? I don't know.
I
just pulled that out of my ass.
It's somewhere out there. There's a lot of Pokemon to choose from. There's a lot more to choose from the Pokeballs, I think, and at least I hope. I think they're going to add in Tyrantrum into one of the Pokeballs because it only makes sense to have him do what, like say Ivysaur did, just come out and do Earthquake. I only think that because that's pretty much all I do with Tyrantrum. I do the cheap thing where you have 2 flying types and Tyrantrum right in the middle for triple battles and just do Earthquake so that your flying types don't get affected and everyone else gets hit. Because ground types, for some reason, are super effective on next to everything.
You keep saying that, but it isn't true.
It's one of those things where it seems like ground types affect all of your Pokemon, but not all of theirs. At least that's what it feels like. But Earthquake is effective against a lot of Pokemon, and even if it's not super effective against them, it's strong.
I'll agree with that.
But yeah, that's what I think they'll add in. But let's go ahead and move on to the next question. We've talked about this enough. This question is asked by the legendary Halo, who leaves a lot of comments on my videos. Thanks for that. I like seeing that. This question is, how did your family react when you told them that you're in the fandom? Well, I never flat out just like told my family I'm in the fandom because it's not really important to tell my family everything in my life. I just live my life. But the other thing I need to say is, like, people react like you being in the fandom and telling other people is like you coming out of the closet or something. I don't really understand this. I really don't. It's not a big deal. I mean, if you act like being in the fandom is going to be a big deal, people are going to assume the worst instantly and then get worried instead of basically saying, okay, let's come up with a hypothetical situation. Your dad walks in, you're looking at random furry art that isn't porn. He asked about it, and all you basically say is it's a community that likes antler art. Conversation done. There's nothing more to it. You don't need to make a big deal about it, try to hide something. It's really not a big deal. Because at worst in the fandom, you're in a open community that is very, very supportive of each other. Because really there's nothing negative I can say about the fandom, or at least what I've experienced throughout 15 years of it.
Now, see, here's the problem. My family is, see, I don't want to say something like devout Christians, because it's going to make devout Christians look bad. They're the kind of Christians that,
Extremists.
yes, actually, that works perfectly. So, I don't tell them anything about me, because if I told my mom once that I was agnostic, not atheist, agnostic, and she almost disowned me.
See, there is a bigger issue there. My family is pretty Catholic. I grew up going to a kindergarten. I grew up going to a Catholic school from kindergarten through 8th grade. You know, they're obviously very Catholic. I went to church twice a week. Catholic Mass and then a Protestant church. Did that for 18 years. Once I moved out, thank God, and never doing that again. I was extremely happy. But, you know, my family don't really know that I'm not Christian, not because I was, like, keeping it away from them or anything, but there's no real reason to basically go straight up to them and say, hey, I'm not Christian, because what good is that going to do? There's no reason to say it. So the fact that they would find out that I'm not Christian would be a bigger deal than them finding out I'm in the fandom. And this asshole here, I was going for him because he was the one guy away from everyone else, so I figured, okay, he's a lone straggler, I can get him by my SR-71. Nope. He ended up killing me and stopped me just short of getting my attack dogs, which was really infuriating. But yeah, you know, telling someone that you're in the fandom should not be a big deal. If someone makes it a big deal, that is not your problem. That is not your fault. They are a judgmental asshole that is ignorant about what the fandom is. There really isn't anything more about that.
Well, I mean, look, as much as I'm like, okay, there are some people who will take that information and go, oh, that's interesting. Then there are other people who have heard the wrong information from the wrong people, and then will just go ahead and tear you apart for it.
Exactly, they're ignorant. That's the word I would use. You can't just plain attack someone without really knowing everything about it. I mean, people that listen to these rumors about things that they're not involved in, you know, if you're not involved with something directly, you shouldn't care. You should not have an opinion about it. Like, I wish people lived off that. I really do.
Yeah, you and me both.
Like, I just don't understand that logic with people. Why is it everyone needs to have an opinion about something? This is what I don't understand. And this can extend to video games too. People need to have an opinion about video games. I was having a conversation with I'm going to say ex-friend. He wasn't really a friend. He was more like an acquaintance, but he was kind of annoying to begin with. He asked me if I wanted to play Team Fortress 2, and I basically said, nah, I'm not really a big fan of TF2. I didn't say I hated it or anything. I just said, don't really feel like it. And then I went on to say the games I usually play are things like, say, Killing Floor, Red Orchestra, Rainbow Six Vegas 2. His replies were some of the stupidest things I've heard, but I've heard them before. That was the more angering thing I've heard. I mean, the things he said, let me see if I can get this correctly. He said, one of the things he said was, Tom Clancy games bore me, which you can't just generalize all Tom Clancy games. They're not all the same. And then he said Killing Floor and Red Orchestra don't really seem to interest me. Like, he just glanced at them and basically said, nah, these games, boring. You can't just look at something off of a glance and get an opinion about it. Like, that's not something you can do. That's just being closed-minded. If a game doesn't interest you, don't try to really make an opinion about it. It's really aggravating when someone says something like that. To make things worse, he tried to back up his argument with, I have a taste for things with humor, rather than boring, samey, COD-esque game styles, and we're talking about Killing Floor here? Okay, no, fuck you, I'm done. Like, you just can't argue that, especially with a game that came out before Call of Duty did. I mean, Killing Floor has been in development since 2004 as a mod. So I had to get that rant out. Like, I have had conversations like this many times, and it has sparked many arguments between me and other people, although usually I'm talking about Fire Emblem, because let's just be honest, watching someone play Fire Emblem doesn't look very entertaining.
You and Fire Emblem, good God.
Hey, what is wrong with liking a good series?
No, there's nothing wrong with liking a good series. There's everything wrong with shoving that series down everyone's throat.
Hey, since when do I do that?
Do I need to really answer that?
Hey, I tell you to play Fire Emblem when you have a 3DS and you're not doing anything. And I don't shove it down other people's throat. That's me talking or saying something about Fire Emblem.